I want you to go ahead and think about the best team that you've ever been a part of. Chances are that what made that team exceptional was not talent, it was trust. People communicate honestly, people challenge ideas respectfully. People learn to solve problems together. Today, we're talking about how leaders can create the kind of trust and communication that transform ordinary teams into extraordinary ones. Come on, let's get this conversation started. Welcome to Transformation Station Leadership Podcast, the podcast where leaders grow with clarity and resilience and purpose. I'm your host, Adrienne Benton, and today you're joining us so that we can have a practical conversation that's designed to help you lead yourself, your teams, and your organizations with greater confidence. Before we get started in our conversation today, I want to make an announcement very quickly. Here's the announcement. Guess what? Because you have been such a faithful audience and you've engaged and you've shared, we are celebrating today. What are we celebrating? We are celebrating 6,600 podcast downloads. I want to say thank you so much to each and every one of you for continuing to engage with Transformation Station Leadership Podcast. Now, here's the deal. If you notice, it says that we're in season 4. So what this means is if you have missed even one episode of season 1, season 2, season 3, that means you need to go back. That's right. Go back right now and catch the replay. And then don't keep this goodness to yourself. I'm inviting you right now to go back and to share these episodes with another leader. Matter of fact, 3 or 4 leaders in your network. All right. Once again, thank you so much for allowing Transformation Station Leadership Podcast to serve the world. Well, today, our guest, his name is Yosi. And I'm so excited to have this conversation with him because together we're going to explore one of the most important topics in leadership. We're talking about building trust and strengthening communication. Now, today's guest is a seasoned executive coach with over 19 years of experience and a background as a chief technology officer and senior director of talent management. He specializes in leadership development, personal growth, and effective communication, leveraging neuroscience and organizational development principles. He's helped leaders across the globe navigate complex challenges, build high-performing teams, and drive meaningful change. It is my absolute honor at this time to welcome Yosi. Welcome to Transformation Station Leadership Podcast. So we can't hear you.
Sorry about that. I am really excited to be here today, and now I'm excited to be off of mute as well. So that's really awesome.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, listen, I have been waiting for this particular conversation because, I was thinking about the fact that every organization wants a high-performing team, right? That goes without saying. And many times I have found that the question isn't really about the performance. It's really about what creates the performance, right? In terms of many of us instantly think about talent, strategy, accountability, execution, and those things matter. But beneath those things are what we're going to talk about. Talking about trust, the foundation, talking about communication, right? Now, before we get into the question, I want to say this. I have found as a leader that when trust exists within my team members will contribute. They'll contribute ideas. They'll contribute with their time and energy without fear. I have found that there are times where the team needs something, and because there's trust, people will just jump in and do. Like they take away my having to be in a situation where I have to say, do this, do that. Like they just instantly move in accordance with what they see and what they hear because there's trust. So I want to start off by asking you this really important question. Why is trust the foundation of every high performing team? And how can leaders intentionally build it?
It's a great question. So I think we need to take a step back first.
Okay.
What is trust? What is this word that we're talking about? What does it mean? Because that's where I find actually the first gap is that we talk about this word as if it has a universal definition. And what I have found in talking to leaders is that it does not. So there's a guy pretty well known. His name is Patrick Lencioni, and he wrote a number of books. One of them, right, is the 5 Dysfunctions of a Team, where he really talks a lot about trust. What I have taken away from his work and other people's work is that trust isn't a universal definition. For example, you're driving on the road. Why do you stop at a red light or a stop sign? I'm asking you a real question. Why do you stop?
That's the rule, and I trust that everybody else is going to follow the rules as well.
Okay. Really important what you said. You trust that everybody else is going to follow the rules. You know those other drivers?
No.
No, right? So this is trust of the unknown people. Right? You're all around there. There's also pedestrians and bikers and everything around, and we all are operating on this trust that doesn't rely on us knowing one another. We're going to call this for today transactional trust. I trust you're going to do what you say you're going to do, or in this case, what the rules are. Okay. The question is, somebody knocks on your door and you don't know who they are. You're going to let them into your house?
No.
Hey, so transactional trust only goes so far. And our first challenge at work is that what we almost default to is transactional trust. I trust that you're going to do what you say you're going to do. Now, if we call this baseline trust, this is where things can really go wrong. Because if you don't do what you say you're going to do, and I can't trust you're going to stop at the red light or the stop sign or whatever it is you say, then like you said in your introduction, we're not going to do what we agreed to do because it's not going to feel safe. I'm not going to feel safe to disagree. I'm not going to feel safe to admit my mistakes. I'm not going to feel safe enough to ask for help.
Very true.
But now, really, if we think about disagreeing, asking for help, admitting mistakes, it actually requires even a deeper level than transactional trust. It requires some level of relational trust. That I will trust you beyond the level of you're just going to do what you say. But honestly, and maybe you've experienced and your listeners have experienced this, that unfortunately, not walking our talk, not doing what we say we're going to do is often where trust breaks down.
I see.
There are some other things we'll get into, I'm sure, in our conversation today, but let's say that's the first. So as you said, if I can't trust you to do what you say you're going to do, I can't trust you to walk your talk, deliver on what you say, nothing else is available. And that means I'm not going to disagree. I'm going to be a yes person to you, but I'm not going to follow through. I'm not going to admit when I don't know what to do. So therefore, I'm going to deliver bad results. And I'm not going to ask for help. And therefore, I'm going to try and do it all solo. So delegation breaks down, work product breaks down, we operate in silos. And all in all, we also tend to operate with a level of friction towards one another. That means I don't want your help. I can't rely on your help. I don't feel safe with your help. So a long way of answering why trust is the foundation, because if there's no relying, right? Imagine you don't feel safe to drive on the street because you don't know if people are going to stop at the red light. Would you
Right.
drive?
Well, you're going to drive very cautiously.
Uber cautiously, right? So what would
Yes.
take you 5 minutes to get to the supermarket might take you 30 minutes to get to the supermarket, because you're going to like be looking everywhere wondering, is this safe?
Yes, yes, absolutely. So, here on Transformation Station, we always give our listeners and viewers an opportunity to stop and to pause and to really resonate, stop and assess what they're resonating with. And so, leaders, I want to ask you, what is resonating with you right now in this conversation that we have started to have on trust and communication? Yosi shared a few things with us. He gave us two categories for trust. One, he talked to us about transactional trust, and then he spoke to us about relational trust. Both of us, we want to know what's resonating with you. We have a leadership principle that we want to share with you, and it goes right hand in hand with what Yosi was saying to us. Trust is earned through consistency. He gave us examples of when consistency is not shown, how that impacts. And so we want to invite you right now, as you're assessing and you're analyzing what's resonating with you, make a commitment today. Make a commitment that you will be consistent with who you are as a leader. Yet let your yes be yes, let your no be no, so that your team is able to proceed forward on a platform of consistency. So, I want to ask you this question next. How does self-awareness influence a leader's ability to make effective decisions and to manage their teams?
Self-awareness,
Hmm.
another funny word, right?
Mm.
Have you ever asked somebody, are you self-aware, and heard them say no?
Very rarely.
Very rarely. Have you met people that you're like, you're not self-aware?
Yes.
Yes, right? Not so rarely. So our challenge with self-awareness is, I've not really ever met somebody who said, "Oh, yeah, no, I'm not self-aware today. I'm doing great."
Mm.
So that's that challenge. For me, what self-awareness means is the difference between reacting
Mm-hmm.
versus choosing on how I want to respond. If I
Mm.
know how to pause and choose
Mhm.
how I respond, then I'm acting on self-awareness. If I
Mm.
am reacting without pausing, then I'm
Mhm.
not acting on self-awareness. So
Mm.
I think that we all have elements, or let's say levels or depth of self-awareness. In
Mhm.
terms of the workplace and our teams, this to me is the difference. Am I a
Mm.
reactive person, or am I choosing my response person?
Mm. Talk to us a little bit more about the difference between reacting and responding. And I'm asking that because this tends to be a critical place for leaders.
Okay. So if we go to the neuroscience,
Mhm.
and there's multiple parts of our brain that are actually playing a role in this. So you touch something hot, or you hear a loud noise, or somebody, snaps in front of your face, you're going to blink, you're going to jump, right? That is that instantaneous reacting. We're going to call that the pre-limbic system, where we are just reacting autonomically. The same thing that keeps us blinking and breathing is our autonomic nervous system. And that's what's going to play a role in that. Now, that's
Mhm.
all of us. I don't know anybody who can get around that. Okay.
Okay.
But what happens then is, do I automatically rip on what
Hmm.
I'm feeling on my autonomic response? Or
Mhm.
have I learned to take a breath and say, wait a second? And it's fast, but I'm going to say it slowly. Wait a second. How do I want to respond here? What's a
Mm.
what's a healthy, what's a valuable, what's a positive response? What's a response that's going to get me closer to the result that I'm really looking for?
Yes.
And that responding doesn't happen automatically. It doesn't happen through wishful thinking. It happens
Mhm.
through exercise and
Mhm.
practice and practice. So you have to start off understanding the difference. then come with intention, and then practice. And one of the best ways that I have found to help leaders practice is practice live with your team. Tell your team, let's practice with each other in this. So when you see me, all right, I'm the leader, and I'm going to say to my team members, when you see me reacting, raise your hand. Or let's, sometimes people get these funny cards like an elephant card or a red card and a green card. Right? When you see me, this is going to be the team norm. Raise your red card. And I'm like, okay, good. Thank you. And then I pause. And the more that I get to do it in real time, then all of a sudden I find that I'm building my strength, my muscle on learning how to pause to respond.
I love that. I love that. So, in talking to a lot of leaders, one of the reasons I was saying earlier that it's attention is because, especially when you go to and when you ask your team to do evaluations, many times when people get marked low, it's because of something reactionary, right? And as leaders, we should guide ourselves to stay steered toward what you talked about. And in my mind, I just thought about the word pause. Very recently, I had a mentor who was talking. We were talking about receiving emails that trigger you. And the mentor said to me, when you get an email that triggers you, right? First of all, you get the email, you don't have the ability to hear the person, you can't see the person. You're just reading, right? When you read it and it triggers you, stop. Do not respond right away. Don't take your fingers and instantly fire back. No, pause, look away, walk away, stand up, breathe, and then come back and read it again. And what was so interesting to me was we had the conversation. I did just that. I came back, and when I read it the second time, I realized that the first time I read it through a filter of frustration that I was already experiencing. And when I read it the second time, the tonality that I had perceived the first time was not there the second time. And I realized that person, they weren't being sideways with me. They were being straight. It was me that had the tension. And so, that was a lesson there for me, to be aware, stop, pause, and choose to respond as opposed to reacting. Leaders, what about you? Yosi and I want to hear from you. So go ahead in the chat right now. Don't only tell us where you're listening and watching from, but go ahead and tell us, what have you seen on your own journey of reacting versus responding? What have you seen in leaders that you admire when it comes to the difference between reacting and responding? And what do you perceive to be the benefits of responding rather than reacting? So, this then takes us to communication, right? So, what communication habits separate healthy teams from teams that constantly experience conflict and misunderstanding?
So what's funny or sad is that our primary way of interacting with one another is through communication. Communication happens verbally. It happens in body language. It happens in tonality, right?
Yes.
And to recognize that you talked earlier, I think, about consistency. I think that was one of your words, right?
Yes.
So consistency in my communication, my words, my tone, and my body language. So when it comes to a practical thing, there's really one thing that builds healthy trust through communication.
Okay.
That's curiosity. Curiosity. And what I mean by curiosity is this. Adrienne, are you a mind reader?
No.
Have you ever met a mind reader?
I have not.
Neither have I. I've met some people who say they are mind readers, but what they mean is they think they're very intuitive. But in the end of the day, I've literally never met somebody who can read somebody else's mind. That means that when I hear you talk, when I see you do something, The story that I tell myself about what I'm hearing or seeing is fictitious. If I react based on the story or my interpretation, I'm probably going to get it wrong. I'm probably going to fracture our trust. Therefore, staying curious means I'm not a mind reader. And therefore, if you're not a mind reader and you admit it to yourself, what will be your next reaction when you see or hear something? What will you do to confirm understanding?
Ask. Or listen
Ask.
and ask.
Ask, right? And that's what
Yes.
staying curious is for me, is
Mm,
let me default to asking more questions before I make statements. Let me asking what actually happened so that I find out versus what I interpreted. Because the conflict that we experience rarely is from the event itself. It's almost always from the story we tell ourselves about the event. The story we tell ourselves about the event. The interpretation I make up in my head. We could just be more curious. I
I
think
love
that we
that.
would actually achieve peace in the world.
I agree 1000%. I was reading something recently, and I wish I could remember where I was reading it from, but the author was saying that leaders that make an impact are leaders that ask good questions. And it was inviting leaders to, you don't have to be intrusive in terms of digging deep down dirty into somebody's business, but asking questions that causes the individual to reflect, that causes them to feel psychological safety, that causes them to feel like they're being seen and heard. And so, leaders, I really want to invite you to really hone in on what Yosi is saying. And I want to invite you to go back and watch this on the replay, because this really is an episode for you to take notes and for us to be able to communicate with ourselves, be self-aware, so that we can continue to make an impact. So I'm going to skip us ahead just a little bit and ask you this question. Can you share some practical strategies for leaders to navigate and manage change in today's dynamic and often really busy business environment?
So change is one of those things. It's a funny thing. Change is one of those things that is happening all the time. Physiologically, we're changing every moment, and the world around us is changing every moment.
Yes.
And I hear people say to me, "Oh, I love change." And I'm like, "Really? Do you like change or do you like variety?"
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Because often the only change people like is the changes that we choose for ourselves, not the changes that are chosen for us. To me, change means difference. There's a line from this to that, where variety allows for it all. I want this now, I want that later, but I'm not having to give up. Change usually implies giving something up. So we all have a very healthy, and some people have an unhealthy self-preservation drive. And our self-preservation drive in any form is asking, is this safe? Am I safe?
Yes.
And therefore, when change happens, is it safe? So in the change management world, there's a great acronym called WIFM.
Okay.
WIFM. What's in it for me? Now, this is not selfishness. This is self-preservation. When we talk about change that you did not choose, so the leader is communicating change or they are echoing change that the organization is driving, the first thing that they need to realize is that our brain goes to two basic questions. Why is this change happening? Why is this change happening? And because I'm asking the why question, I'm also asking, and what happens if I don't go along with it?
Yes.
Okay. So why and what happens? And then the second or the third is if I cannot build desire in others for the change, which means talk about what's in it for them. How will this benefit you? Because it's very clearly going to cost you effort,
Something.
cost you giving up something. But if I
Mm.
can't build desire, what's in
Mhm.
it for you for this change? Why should anybody come along?
Mm.
Why would we do a change that's not beneficial to me?
Mhm. Mhm.
And so for the leader to consider, why is this change? Why? And what's happening often is that a leader, mid-level leader, doesn't often know why a change is happening. They were informed, like everybody else, this is what's changing.
Right.
It is up to them. And this is the challenge of mid-level leadership. It is up to the leader to consider a why and a WIFM that will work for their team and
Mhm.
to stand behind it. It's
That's
a hard
powerful.
thing to do.
That is.
Yeah.
That is. Yeah. Leaders, we want to hear from you. So go ahead and tell us, like, how are you embracing, right? I was challenged as I was listening. I wasn't challenged like, I don't know what to do, but challenged in terms of just really thinking about those moments where my own leadership, I was in a situation where I had to cause my team to do something that I knew that they would not understand. And, I can honestly say that there were some scenarios you'll see where it would have made a big difference if I would have thought about the with them. If I would have concentrated on that with them, it would have just kind of
Right.
turned the whole trajectory and we would have been able to get it done, more smoothly. So this really is valuable. And thank you for bringing in the neuroscience. So I want to ask you these last two questions, right? So this one,
Sure.
for the leader that's listening and watching right now that has inherited a team where trust has been broken, where should they begin in rebuilding it?
Just think about people.
Mm-hmm.
A team is a relationship. It's a relationship. If you walk into any relationship and you're asking people to change, how likely are you to feel safe in that relationship? For me, I first want to be accepted for who I am. When a leader walks into a team, whether the trust has been broken or not, what the people want to see is you're going to first find out who I am. You're going to listen. You're going to find out who I am, and you're going to accept me at that face value.
Yes.
Once I understand, and understanding means I've watched, I've spoken to you, I've confirmed my understanding or my guesses, and same back. So
Mhm.
that acceptance, that true acceptance of us as people, as humans, where we're at today, is the baseline. You can do that, then we can start to talk about where do we want to go from here. But it's like a
Mm.
GPS. Okay. So, Adrian, have you ever used a GPS for directions?
Absolutely. All the time.
Okay. What two data points do you need to put in to the GPS to get good directions?
Well, I mean, you need to know the address where you're going, right?
So
So I
that's the
think
destination.
the destination,
What else do
right?
you need? What's the other data point you need?
Um, I don't know. I always put in the destination.
Your
I don't
starting
know.
point.
Oh, well, yes. Yes,
Oh, but
yes,
that's
yes.
the key, right? That's the key. We
Mhm.
have to know where we're starting before we can lead a team
Yes,
to a
yes.
destination.
Mm.
Acceptance is our starting point.
That's
We
good.
have to say, where are we today? And that takes time to really figure out when you walk into a new team. Where is our starting point? Because I cannot lay out a trajectory for growth, for building,
I don't know where we're
if
going.
we
Mhm.
don't agree on our starting point.
It's good. That was good. I'll give some snaps for that one. Really, really good. Really, really good. Thank you. Wow. That was really good. I love that point. So as we turn the corner on this conversation, so into us, like talk to us, right? If every leader that's listening and watching today could improve just one communication habit this week, what would you recommend?
Ask one more question before you respond than you normally do. Go one step further before you jump to your conclusion, before you jump to your interpretation. Ask one more clarifying question before you respond.
I love that. That is a perfect, perfect way to end, because we're going to ask you one more question. I know that there are leaders. Well, I know that there are leaders that are listening and watching that want to know more, right? Because I mean, honestly, we barely scratched the surface on this conversation, and this really is a very pivotal conversation that when we take it seriously, talking about trust and communication, it really makes a difference and allows us to have more influence and impact with our teams and also with ourselves as leaders. So how can those who are listening and watching, how can they find out more and engage with you?
Thank you. So, like you just put up on the screen, and for those who are listening in audio, it's my LinkedIn website. I am the only Yosi Kossowsky on LinkedIn. Yosi, and then the letter K, and you will find my profile. There is a button on my LinkedIn page for a free 30-minute talk.
Nice.
Reach out, book time. Let's see if there's anything that I can do to support you, to help you, to advise you, to partner with you on strengthening your leadership abilities, your skill sets over time.
I love it. Thank you so much. So Transformation Station community, you know what we do. We love to support our guests. So I'm inviting you to go ahead. You see the link here on the screen. It's also in the description box. Go ahead and click that link. Go ahead and talk to Yosi. Let him know that you saw, that you heard this particular episode. Tap into the resources, because we truly believe the community that learns together grows together. Yosi, thank you so much for joining us today. It has been an honor, a privilege to have you here with us on Transformation Station Leadership Podcast.
Thank you. I really enjoyed being on with the show with you today, and I can't wait to promote all of your episodes.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Wow, what an amazing conversation we just had today. You know, I was reminded of a few things. Number one, trust and communication is built during everyday interactions. Every conversation that we have with our team members, it's an opportunity to strengthen relationships, to increase clarity, and to create healthier culture and healthier communication. And speaking of that, I want to remind you that here in Transformation Station, we have monthly and weekly community engagement. And so our next Lead Her Shift webinar is going to take place on July 19th with Christine Valdez. You want to join us, go ahead and click that link. The registration link is in the comment section. So go ahead and click that link and register today. Share this with 3 other leaders in your network so that you can join our next conversation, because this conversation talking about leading without lowering your standards, you don't want to miss it. We also want to remind you that the community that prays together sees miracles happen together. And we have the Mobilizing Prayer Circle that meets once a month. Our next prayer circle is going to be on July 12th. So go ahead and click the link so you can get the Zoom link to be able to join us. We have a short devotional. We share prayer requests, testimonies, and then we walk away. We leave that virtual space inspired to get out there and to become the leader that we know we've been called to be. So definitely join us on July 12th. And then I am so excited. You know, I've been reflecting on how to better equip leaders with practical, intentional leadership development that extends beyond a single webinar, article, or podcast episode. And this month, I'm introducing the Mobilizing Leadership Briefing. Every month, I'll be sharing one focused leadership teaching that's designed to help you lead with greater purpose, resilience, integrity, and impact. And so I'm inviting you to join us. The first briefing will be released on Monday, July 6th. So you want to be sure to watch that briefing. And we're going to be talking about leading without lowering your standards. I have some great teaching designed just for you. So be sure to join me for the Mobilizing Leadership Briefing. Well, listen, again, I just want to say thank you. Yosi was an amazing guest who really sewed into us today. So be sure to reach out to him. And if today's conversation encouraged you, I'm inviting you to subscribe to the Transformation Station Leadership Podcast and continue to lead with clarity. So until next time, remember, trust is not built in a single conversation. It is built through consistent leadership. I'll see you at the next Transformation Station Leadership Podcast.